What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the V-Shred Better Body, Better Life podcast. I'm your host, Vince Sant, and today we have part 2 of our interview with Coach Alex. Our interview last week went a little long, and so what we wanted to do is break this up because today we're actually talking about all things supplements. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the V-Shred Better Body, Better Life podcast, where we help you live your best life while working on your health and fitness goals. We're here to make your journey fun and inspiring.
And then I wanted to touch on what role do supplements play, in your opinion, for hard gains?
I think the best way I would put it is they fill holes. Not everyone needs supplements, but for a lot of people, again, with their lifestyle, unless you're eating a large variety of foods and you have all these things set in place, like meal frequency, like you've really cranked that dial, you're not probably going to get all of your micronutrients and things that your body might want to have if you're wanting to perform optimally or lose fat at a faster rate. And supplements can do a great job of filling those holes without having to put in place as much effort or as much time into your diet and your just overall practices day to day. So do I think that they're going to be the biggest outcome-driven variable? Absolutely not for most people, but they can give people that edge and fill in a lot of blank spots and holes that they're not getting from their diet in a very, very easy manner that's just easily, like, again, slotted into your daily habits. It doesn't take a lot of time to make a shake or have a couple pills with your vitamins in the morning.
To hit all the macros that you need every single day for optimal health, and like you're supposed to get like a certain amount of iron every single day, and like the amount of iron or magnesium or however much of these certain nutrients that you should be getting every single day would require such a unique diet that for somebody to get that through food on a daily basis, you need probably a roster of chefs to make you all these different types of foods every single day. And so, no, I 100% agree that supplements fill gaps. Supplements are definitely not necessary. Like it's not going to make or break your progress. Can it further your progress, speed up progress? Yes. I've always recommended everybody take creatine. That's probably just like the number one, where if somebody asks me, hey, what supplement, before they even finish their sentence, creatine. You should take creatine. Is everybody. But then like there's a bunch of other ones that, like, if you're not out in the sun at all, okay, you need to be taking some vitamin D. That's going to be great for your hormone health. It's going to be great for testosterone. It's going to be great for energy. Iron's a big one. Potassium's a big one. Electrolytes are huge. And so like there are certain things that I feel like most people are lacking in a lot that they should be supplementing with. And then there's ones that are more fun, like pre-workout. Or like protein. If you're struggling to hit your protein intake, get a protein powder. It is the easiest thing in the world to drink down 50 grams of protein. And now all of a sudden, for some people, they're a third of the way there. For me, I'm a quarter of the way there just from one protein shake. And so it makes it very easy to hit specific goals, like you said. But then like I am a big fan of like vasodilator like types of pre-workouts. Like I love getting a juicy pump. It's my I love getting all itchy before, like as I'm warming up. I love getting all tingly. I love it. Yeah, man. And so like some of that stuff is just fun. And then some of it is also just good for you. But I feel like the people who approach supplements with the mindset of I have to have this, and if I don't, or this is going to solve everything for me.
Direct cause and effect.
Like we sell fat burners and natural test boosters, right? Those are not going to solve all of your problems. Will they help drive results because our fat burner helps to suppress your appetite, because it helps you burn a few more calories, because it helps give you more energy for your workouts? Is it going to help with, it's going to make you sweat more? Is it going to help with those aspects? Yes, 100%. Is it going to negate you eating way too much food? No. So there's like, people just need, in my opinion, people just need to go to look at supplements with the right frame of mind, where this is, I always look at it as the icing on the cake, and your nutrition and your workouts and your sleep and your hydration. That's the cake. And then once you want to put that icing on the cake, that's supplements.
We don't always think about how supplements can affect our ability to kind of just carry over to other aspects of our life. Like with the fat burner, right? If your hunger is suppressed, you're going to be much less inclined to overeat those calories. It's not going to keep you from doing them. You need the discipline, but that amount of mental fortitude or discipline you have because you're not as hungry plays a real role.
Yes.
And I think the same thing with like your pre-workouts and things that are vasodilators. If you feel better walking into the gym and you have a pump, you're probably going to be more inclined to train harder and maybe even a little longer because you feel good and you associate that with joy and enjoyment, as well as making that a habit. If you don't enjoy your practices when it comes down to anything movement related, you're probably going to be less inclined to do it daily. And I think that the most, like, especially with protein, where you're talking about it's so easy to get 50 grams, I like to think about like the time that I save not having to have a crazy long like breakfast with a frittata or whatever and a salad or just a ton of different foods. The time that I'm saving spending a minute and a half with my Sculpt Nation shake in the morning, I can spend towards going for a walk or doing things that like apply to my goals that I wouldn't maybe have time for. Supplements can also just, again, give us more time to spend towards the thing that are going to be outcome driven, that are simple, or like sleeping more.
Yep. Yeah. No. And as you talk about that, I'm just thinking about all the other holes in my nutrition that supplements do fill the gaps on. Like I'm not a vegetable guy. I hate vegetables, which is really bad if I didn't take a greens drink every single morning. First thing I do when I wake up is I drink a salt. I drink the Sculpt Nation strawberry greens. I throw that in 8 ounces of water. I throw a tablespoon of salt water in it as well. That's the first thing every single morning. And that ensures that every single day I'm getting 100% of my like essential vital or like my important micronutrients that I would be getting from vegetables. And now I don't have to gag my way through salads and like all those ads where I'm like, what am I eating? Pizza or salad? Well, it's not the salad. That's real. I don't eat salad. Mm-hmm. And so like I have greens to fill that gap. Sleep.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I have a tough time falling asleep or staying asleep. Or I also, again, I use this ring to track my sleep. And so some days I don't get good REM or I don't get good deep sleep. And so I use something like Burn PM, which is probably my favorite supplement that we have that helps me fall asleep fast and helps me stay asleep. And so if you can find the right supplements, I guess I could ask you this, how does somebody go about finding the right supplements for them?
I think a lot of it is you just got to read labels too, and then do a little bit of research. I think PubMed and being a little bit nerdy with just typing in some buzzwords that you see in ingredients and seeing if there is some reviewed research is important. And it sometimes can, again, rabbit hole, and you can go way too deep into the nitty gritty that doesn't really apply. But that is a tough question to answer because it's very subjective. But I think the big things is focus on things that you may have seen a lot or already have been maybe in the industry and on shelves for a long time when picking them, just like creatine, and things that you can ask people for. Like having a coach for this is what would be my main tip, is hire someone to do it for you, because it does take a lot of background in nutrition and kind of just experience to give good supplement recommendations. Because a lot of the times what giving someone one supplement that other person takes is going to do nothing for them, just because of things like their lifestyle or their age or their activity levels. So it plays a lot into doing a lot of research, I think, on your own, or having an outlet to how to being in terms of recommendations. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think going often is subjective to a very large degree. And I think a lot of people get lost in overthinking it rather than just focusing on, I think stacks can be a great thing, because you can look at supplements more towards an outcome, like gaining muscle or losing fat. And a lot of them are structured to kind of take that guessing out, which is really cool that Sculpt Nation offers. And I'm sure that you can kind of attest to in your journey that you've started adding things together that apply to whatever goal you're going towards.
Yes. No, it's my stack is really salt and greens every single morning, and then protein powder when necessary. So that's one that I will play by ear. It's not something that I schedule into my day. It's something that if I'm struggling to hit my protein today because I missed a meal or I was busy or I woke up late or whatever, and I'm not going to hit 200, well, I'm going to get a protein shake in. And so that's kind of like an insurance policy. Creatine, that's something that I am taking every single day. Burn PM, that's something that I'm taking a couple nights a week. I try not to build a tolerance to melatonin, and I also try not to deplete my own natural production of melatonin. And so those are probably the main ones. And then like if I am trying to do like a pretty drastic cut, if we got a shoot coming up, I'll hit up some Burn Evolved. And then I think later on I'll probably get into the test boost once I'm feeling like I am slowing down a little bit, or I'm feeling too stressed out, because that's the beauty of test boost. It's not just about this testosterone, it's about the stress that comes with it. What would you say some of your go-to supplements are, though?
My go-to, based off of, again, you mentioned stress, is I love the post-workout and then the Neuroctane. Sometimes I don't want to have 300 milligrams or 250 milligrams of caffeine before I work out, because I got to go to bed. If I work out at 9 p.m., I'm not
you work out at night?
I like working out at night. It's what the schedule allows, It's the less people in the gym, you can superset and all that stuff. But the Neuroctane has a little bit of caffeine, and I find it really helps with just general focus and cognition. And I'm able to keep myself on track and not get caught doom scrolling or being on my phone, and not feel jitters for 2.5 hours after. And post-workout's been really effective for me, because it allows me to get some of the things that I might not get from my diet, because I don't like to spend an hour and a half cooking before I go to bed. I got to do some work, check on my clients. But that's great because I can get some creatine. It knocks that hole. I don't have to take another creatine supplement. It has things in it that generally help people kind of wind down and relax, in the same way that sometimes I'll take Burn PM, but I don't like to have it be something that I take for more than 40 days at a time, because and again, the thing with melatonin is it relates to kind of habit creation with sleep patterns. And I don't know if that's fully true yet, but I think cycling on and off supplements, it can be good as well. And that's one of them that I cycle on and off. But,
yeah, I think anything could be a mental addiction too.
Absolutely. And there's placebo for everything to a degree too. You are what you tell yourself.
Right.
Those are my favorites right now, because again, I love pre-workout, but at the result of me only getting 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah. You ever tried like non-stims?
Yes, I love non-stim pre-workout. I do love non-stim. I love things like L-tyrosine and alpha GPC, and a lot of things that just generally help with focus. Because I think brain fog is a huge theme as we get older, and as we tend to go into a diet that maybe doesn't have as much calories as we previously have.
And as the day gets later. Yeah. Okay, so that we kind of went over like what my go-tos, your go-tos. What would you say are some of the most common go-tos for like some of your clients?
Yeah, for hard gainers, I definitely think the protein is one. And again, I think it ties back when you're a hard gainer, you need to have, and especially again, if we talk about like eating windows, like we talked about before, you only have 12 hours to eat a certain amount of calories that's going to help you gain weight. You want to do that with as least amount of bites as possible if you're super busy. And making shakes can be a phenomenal way to do that. But oftentimes, if you're using very, very high calorie foods to put in those shakes so that you're hitting your calorie goals for the day to gain weight, those high calorie foods maybe don't have quality sources of protein in them. And having a protein supplement, just 1.5 scoops, and then putting in maybe things like peanut butter, granola, nuts, oatmeal, can make a really, really convenient way for you to get in a ton of calories without having to allocate a ton of time or just general bites. It doesn't take very long. But I'd say that's a really important one. I think, again, the test booster and HGH booster can be a great addition to doing all the other things right and give you a little bit of an edge. But apart from that, I think it's having things that when you're hard gaining, making sure your workouts are high quality and that you feel energized and that you have good endurance past that 45-minute mark, where some people tend to tail off, are really important. So pre-workout is a great thing. I think people need to assess, again, their caffeine tolerance first, because if you're like not a coffee drinker, that can feel like a bit of slap to the face and make you a little itchy and stuff like that. But that is something that I promote a lot with people, is how do you optimize is not my favorite word, but how do you just add quality to the duration of your workouts, as well as how you feel during them. I think cognitively is really important. So I use a lot of creatine. Creatine's one, obviously, but that's one I recommend for everyone. Protein for just general things like higher calorie shakes, and pre-workout is another go-to for me.
And then what are some of the common supplements that clients come to you? either having a history of taking or are currently taking that they probably don't need to be taking, and it's just what they heard online?
That's a lot. I think for the most part, I see a lot of supplements that what is it, like a men's or a daily vitamin hits. Like you're taking a really expensive daily vitamin that's 3 or 4 pills, and then on top of that, you're taking like vitamin D3. You're getting 10,000% of your RDA, or you're exceeding that upper tolerable limit that you don't need to. I see things like stuff that just says de-stress on it, and people aren't even reading the label at all, and it's just a micro-dosed thing that they're already going to get from food in their diet. I see a ton of nootropics, things that help with focus, that are just we talk about minimum effective dose a lot with supplements. There can be tons of great ingredients, but if they're not dosed effectively,
Right.
based off of what we have in terms of peer-reviewed research, they're not going to do anything. And I'd say that with a lot of supplements generally that say that they're going to have an outcome associated with them on the label and not the actual label of what they are, they're probably going to be underdosed unless you take 2 or 3 times the serving. But you have to factor in your body weight. But I see a lot of that because people, I think labels are very, very influential, and people love to see something that they want on a label, and they often purchase it. But that doesn't mean the product is going to provide them that under the circumstances of taking that one pill. So I'd see that the most are just general things that don't list one ingredient. They're kind of proprietary blends, so we don't know how much we're getting from them. And not to say that proprietary are bad, and that's just the word for, like, if you see a proprietary blend, it'll say all the ingredients, but it doesn't have to list the amount of each one. And that's kind of important when we're taking into account something that has maybe 40 ingredients. You don't know how much of these things that you're getting, but that doesn't mean they're bad. And I often look to like the size of the scoop. If it's a really tiny scoop and it's a proprietary blend, maybe that's something I make a decision off of.
How do you see the size of the scoop before you buy it? Or actually, I think so. I was actually with a friend who got a tub of, I forget what it was, from like a GNC or something like that, and opened it, didn't like it, and I was like, take it back. And they're like, what do you mean take it back? I opened it. I was like, take it back. Like, they let you take it back. It's a
guarantee.
Yeah, it's a quality guarantee, and they didn't like the quality, and they took it back, and they're like, wow, I would have just dealt with that. So anybody out there who's dealing with supplements that you don't like, send them back. Like even like Sculpt Nation, we have a lifetime money back guarantee on all of our supplements. And so that's why, like, if you haven't tried anything, there's no pressure that you have to take it if you don't like it. If you don't like it, you can send it back. And so I think, but some supplement companies don't have that, or they have like a 30-day and they don't really honor it, or they don't honor it after that at all, just because for whatever reason. But
or you can't open it.
or that you can't open it. It's like, okay, well, what do you mean I can't open it? I need to try it. I don't know if I like it. But has your like list of supplements that you've taken changed as you've gotten more educated, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it's based off of, like, again, my lifestyle and how it's changed. Being a coach, we have like to be available and be an accountable source for a long time during the day. So I have to be focused and have the ability to think critically a lot. And I do take a lot of things that help me just generally stay and manage stress from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And that wasn't the case for me when I was in school, and I'd have maybe 9 to 1 p.m. So I take things that maybe allow me to focus for longer, or I take my things that help me wind down right when I'm clocking out, because I do value probably sleep way more than I did 10 years ago.
Yes.
Because I know that is an outcome-driven variable for me. That is something that is a low-hanging fruit that I have direct control over, and I don't need to spend more money to do better. But I'd say most of them are really, it's kind of applying to what's going on in my life and what my day-to-day is. Went from a supplement thing, and they've evolved as I do still always take creatine. I always have a multivitamin. I take magnesium more than ever in the summer when I sweat, and as well as salt. Like electrolytes, I think, are super important, especially if you're someone who sweats more than others.
Yeah.
It can be really, really effective for those longer workouts. But I don't think it's changed a whole lot in terms of the total amount, but more so it's applied to what's going on in my life and what my goals are.
Yeah, no. And that, I think that's huge, is because there's no one size fits all with anything. And that applies to supplements as well, because the supplements that I take, that doesn't necessarily mean that even another hard gainer in a very similar situation to me needs to take. There's going to be certain overlap, like what we've talked about with creatine. Creatine is one of the most researched, it is the most researched supplement. And I think everybody should be taking it. There's a lot of misconceptions around creatine, which I'm shocked there are still so many people that believe that it's so bad for you with all the research that's been done on it. But there's certain overlap with supplements that I do believe that most people should take, if not everybody. And then there's certain supplements, like you said, that are going to be based off of your specific goals. Like I have much different goals now than I did even 6 months ago because of this new Ironman journey that I'm on. And so the things that I'm doing every single day and the things that I'm focusing on, like I'm focusing on sleep and recovery more than ever, because before it was just lifting weights, and I would only work out for an hour a day. And so I would get plenty of recovery in. Now it's like I'm working out for 2, maybe 3 hours a day, maybe more. And I need to make sure that my body is healthy so that I can do it all over again tomorrow. And my body's not used to all the plyometric from running. It's not used to all the shoulder exercise from swimming. It's not used to all the extra leg work from biking. And so there's a lot of things that I'm doing now that are different because of what I'm doing. And so I think as people's lives change, as their goals evolve, I think that's an important one. And then I do have a question for you. What's your take on like supplement timing?
Ooh, yeah. Supplement timing, I think, is subjective to the supplement, right? Like, again, we look at creatine, right? It's got a ton of research. Creatine works in accumulating in tissues over time. And basically the application of that is you don't really need to focus as much on the time of day that you take it. It just needs to be something that you're doing daily, because its effect is the same as taking like a vitamin. It's not going to have an acute response in the body where you're going to have up like regulated
crazy pump and
yeah,
crazy
you're not gonna get a
energy.
crazy
Right.
pump.
I'm glad you started with that one, because that's probably the question related to supplement timing that I get the most. It's, hey, when should I take creatine? And it's like, It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Absolutely. But
daily.
It's also not bad to have it in a pre-workout. Like a ton of pre-workouts have it. It just allows you to check multiple boxes. You don't have to take another scoop at the other time of day. A lot of it, again, ties back to that convenience and how well you can repeat something.
And while we're on creatine, quick question about that before we move into other ones.
Yeah, of course.
What's the whole loading creatine thing? What's your take on loading creatine?
My take? I think there's a little bit of conflicting science, and I think a lot of it plays into a role in more of our guts. Because if you look at dosing creatine from like anywhere from 5 to 20 grams, you see people have very different responses in terms of their gas and how well they can have loose versus good stools. So I think that's the first thing, but I think it can give you a faster like response in terms of your performance if you go anywhere from 10 to 20 grams per day for the first couple weeks, because it sometimes takes up to a month for it to load in tissues to you to start
saturated,
seeing the result.
Right?
So yeah, you can like again double or triple the amount. I think of being based off your body weight, and maybe see the results a little bit faster. But if you're willing to wait the extra 2 weeks, you're going to get the same outcomes as the person that did it a little bit earlier in the long term. But I think a big thing is maybe I've seen a lot of people, this is just a random tidbit, is not pairing creatine with something that increases like that rate of motility or gastric emptying, like caffeine. That can be really hard on people's guts. If they're taking like 2 energy drinks or something with their creatine, they can just really wreak havoc and feel a little bit of distress. And I've had that before as someone that is a stim junkie to a degree and really likes an energy drink here and then. But that's just one thing, as I don't think it really plays a massive role, creatine loading, but it can get you somewhere faster if you're willing to take it.
Yeah. So back to supplement timing. Any other supplements that kind of stick out to you?
I think another one that I hear a lot, you said creatine, is do I take protein pre or post workout? And from what we have on a research perspective, say you're eating the same amount of protein as someone per day that's having it at night, 12 p.m. and in the morning. If you're having the same amount, the person who takes it pre or post workout is going to have the same results. It's more of a game like what feels the best in your stomach.
Yes.
Maybe if you're going fasted, it might be good to have protein before. It might give you a little more energy. You can use that protein for energy. But do we want that? We want to be using protein to building muscle, not to feed blood glucose and all those kind of things. So I think it's a game where we can definitely major in the minors, but I think create or protein timing as a supplement is important to have throughout the day, but not, you shouldn't sweat. Like we talked a little bit, you mentioned about an anabolic window, which is kind of like an old fitness theme or bro science thing where you have to have protein within a time frame after your workout, or you lose that ability to gain muscle from it.
Right.
And that is completely not true.
Right.
That's been debunked. But a lot of the times, is it bad to have protein after your workout within an hour? Absolutely not. You should prioritize it. You're going to recover faster, but it's not going to negate your progress if you don't do it within 3. The other thing I think with supplement timing is taking things that like often are associated with like relaxation versus something that is a stimulant at different times of the day. And it kind of touches on like the pre-workout and neurooctane. I would prioritize, again, things like magnesium or L-theanine or like something with melatonin, obviously, later in the day, as well as maybe vitamin D3 is something we don't want to take later in the day. We've seen some research that it might be better to take to pair kind of with circadian rhythms when we tend to see the most light. Those things play a role, but I think it's most on, it all ties back, what's going to help you have the most optimized, like simple control over variables in your lifestyle, like your sleep, your diet, and your exercise. Portion things that allow you to control those the most.
Yeah, no.
And timing wise,
I didn't even, I don't know why I didn't even think about the importance of timing of stimulants and also like calming agents as well, which obviously I do because like I'm also a fan. I'm also a stim junkie. Not a huge one, but like I like the sugar-free Monsters. Those are like a go-to every single morning. And then if I'm working out before 3-4 p.m., if I'm working out by 3-4 p.m., I'll take pre-workout. I also go to bed a little bit later. I go to bed probably around midnight, which I don't know if that's late to you, but to some people it's really late and to some people it's not. So I guess that's relative. But I won't take caffeine after 5 p.m., 4 p.m., something like that. And then when nighttime rolls around, I take magnesium glycinate every single night. Burn PM pretty often. And then, like I said, salt in the morning, vitamin D in the morning, greens in the morning. And then, like I said, caffeine in the morning as well. But yeah, that's a big one that I didn't even really think about. That's probably the biggest one that needs timing related to it. But I think it's also probably one of the more obvious ones, which is good. I think more commonly asked ones are, like you said, protein or especially creatine.
Yeah, they have their time and place, and you can put a lot of structure around them. But again, it's like how dialed in, how all in are you? That's kind of the more thing. If you are super dedicated, yeah, maybe we really partition those supplements. But for most people, it's a pretty open slate, and kind of they can choose a lot of different things that fit with what's most convenient for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So that's, I think, everything I was looking to cover today. Is there anything you can think of that we didn't go over? Any last tips?
Yeah. I mean, I think with what you're going over or going through with your training, I wanted to ask you a little bit about kind of recovery and kind of your thoughts on how you prioritize recovery different with both your training kind of as you get older, and what are things that you found to really, really, that you prioritize the most when it comes down to that?
We talked a lot about it. Sleep is number one for sure. Sleep and hydration, because they don't require any extra. I mean, they do require time, I guess, but it doesn't require anything from me. I have a water bottle next to me at all times. I drink like 10 of these a day. I track my sleep every single night. I know exactly how much actual sleep I'm getting, not just how long I'm in bed. I know exactly how much sleep I'm getting, how much REM sleep I'm getting, how much deep sleep I'm getting, how much light sleep I'm getting. I know my heart rate variability. I know my resting heart rate and where it goes at every single hour of the night. And so I think those are probably the two biggest ones because they're the easiest to track. There's certain things that remain steady, and that's going to be like the mobility. I'm very flexible. I do like stretching. Definitely like warming up before workouts. I've had some soft tissue injuries, and it's usually because I didn't warm up properly. And so that's a big priority now. And then, yeah, I mean, I think it's just the simple ones of I prioritize my sleep a lot more than the average human. I prioritize hydration a lot more than the average human. I'm a big sauna guy, and I want to become a big cold plunge guy here soon.
Yeah, cold plunging is hardcore. I've started doing it I have a roof, and boy, does it teach you another like realm of being able to manage discomfort in different ways. Like the gym is great
Yeah.
because you get really good at being able to manage fatigue and all these kind of things. Like you learn how to not volitionally stop just because something hurts, but cold plunges are a whole nother field.
Yeah. But that's I think that does it.
We've covered a lot today.
Yeah, we did. This was some solid episodes. I mean, I appreciate you being on here with us. We talked about a lot of good stuff. Hopefully everybody listening enjoyed. We got a couple more topics that we're going to bring Alex back for. So make sure you guys are staying tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Alex, thank you for being here. Had a great time.
It's great to be here.
But before we wrap up, if anybody out there is looking for some extra help with getting back on track and trying to lose weight or achieving whatever your fitness goals are, we do have certified personal trainers, certified coaches who are available and eager to create a customized plan for you based on your body. And our trainers have already helped hundreds of thousands of men and women to lose weight, tone up, build strength, get healthier, feel better, look better. And we're ready to work with you as well. And this is something where we'll figure out everything for you. We'll do all the calculations, figure out all the macros, the calories, what foods to eat, what foods to avoid, when to work out, what those workouts look like. And so if you guys want to get more details on that, just check out the link in the description below. I know you will absolutely love it. But thank you again for tuning in today, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of V-Shred's Better Body, Better Life podcast. Whether you're doing one of our programs, taking our supplements, or just doing things on your own, tune in every week for exclusive content with Vince, V-Shred trainers, and special guests as they share valuable tips around motivation, workouts, food, and living a healthier lifestyle. See you next time.